This is what has now become quite a busy place. This is Gunthorpe. I'm outside the Unicorn Hotel here, right at the side of the River Trent. It's an absolutely beautiful early spring day. Temperature's nice and warm, and I'm going to go for a walk around the old pits at Gunthorpe, which used to be an old gravel works. Now I'm hoping that it's home to one of our most spectacular day-flying moths. As you might have gathered by now, this is Gunthorpe Bridge. Never realised it had NCC inscribed on it. It's a cracking bridge. Takes far too much traffic though. Anyway, heading down here, which you can't see, can you, at the moment? Now you can. That's the way we're heading. It's a lovely walk. Gets more peaceful the further away you get from the road that's above on the bridge. So really is a lovely little Trent side wander. Cracking spot. Well, isn't that a picture? Just under and through the other side of Gunthorpe Bridge, I'm on the Burton Joyce side now. Lovely clear blue sky, just a bit of thin high hazy cirrus and a light breeze. It's very, very pleasant today, and the temperature is forecasted to get to the high teens. It's the perfect day for this wheezy wander. It's nice that everything is now starting to green up and come into life. Spring is definitely here, and now probably the first time you don't expect any cold weather. Nah. Well, that's just a lovely view straight down the Trent, and you can see actually how tree lined this section of the Trent is. Right in the far distance, I don't know whether you'll be able to make it out on the screen, but you can see where it opens up and just becomes grass fields either side of the Trent, and it's like that all the way down to Netherfield, further down the river. Well, should I say up the river, because the Trent, as you look at it now, is flowing from right to left towards the camera. Sedge warbler over there, my first of the year, which isn't surprising because I don't go looking for them anymore, but it's lovely. Blackthorn's another one, which that is, of course. Some are in full flower and others are done now. A lot of it depends, of course, on the siting of where the particular bush is growing, but proper nice little walkway, isn't it? Made nice with the chiff-chaff. I do like the Trent. It is, of course, Nottingshire's largest and widest river by some considerable margin. But it's beautiful. It has a smell. It's not an unpleasant smell, it's just a nice sort of River Trenty smell. Certainly smells a lot cleaner now than what it used to be in the 60s and 70s. And really it was, well, the deathbed of fish. In my brief foray into the world of angling, you certainly saw more dead fish float past you than what you ever caught. the detritus and the foam and the chemicals was unbelievable. This river has really been cleaned up. It's pretty much unrecognisable now to what it used to be. Aside from the caravans, it's a nice spot, isn't it? Very different to my last visit here, which was, well, probably July, August time, I would imagine. Everything on the left of this little cutting here, it's not a river, it's just a wide dike really, to be honest, and that's been a kingfisher that I flushed. As soon as it saw me, off it went. But all this gets left to grow. It's never been planted. I don't know why, whether it's an area of common land, but it's always been left like this. And it becomes just a tangled mass of nettles and long grass. It's brill for invertebrates. It's just nice that something's, you know, left. Hopefully it won't be developed or built on at any time. So, the way we're going, I may well cut off to the left, or I may well go straight on. Decisions, decisions. The sedge warbler there says go straight on. So, that's what we'll do. Well, I don't normally like to do in the pot sort of photographs and videos, but if I don't, she won't stop still. This is Trecosa Ruricola, and these are really sort of chunky monkeys in UK spider terms. Their stockiness reminds me of tarantulas. They're that sort of shape, I find anyway. This is a fairly common spider in Nottinghamshire, especially in the Trent Valley, and this one was actually under a log that I've just lifted up. I've actually ventured to look for something. But they're a nice spider. They have that sort of cardiac mark on the abdomen, which is that sort of thin, pale strip. And then elsewhere on the abdomen, you may well be able to make out some fainter, darker marks. And the carapace is two-toned, with the two large stripes either side of the top of the carapace. But they're a nice spider. Invariably, always found singly, usually under rocks, flat pieces of stone and old trunks of trees. So we'll put this lady back and off she goes. Might think I'm strange. I don't suppose many of you ever did this as kids. This is white dead nettle. This here and that lot there. And when we were kids, quite often you would just pull a couple of the flowers off. And if there was any in, you could suck the nectar out. A little bit of nature's natural sweetener. Some plants you could get quite a lot, or some flowers you could get quite a lot of nectar out. The only thing you had to watch for was red ants, like Myrmica rubra, which are also fond of going into these early spring white dead nettle flowers. Jack Hargreaves never showed you that tip, did he? Aren't you glad? But on vegetation like this, it's always worth just sitting down and scanning, having a peruse. Not everything is always obvious. Sometimes you have to wait for a bit of movement. It's full of stuff when you sit and look. People need to take that time to just stop and look. I know people will look, but I mean look properly, or look and see, rather than just look. There's so much, even in a bed of common nettles, white dead nettles, and the fabulous dandelion. I just love spring. Now here's a stunning beetle. I've been looking for this, and this is a male. This is a smaller of the two. The female's dropped off. This is Grasolina Fasciosa, and these are beautiful. The colours on this species are variable, all based on green, but they can be purplish reddish as in this one, but there can be elements of blue. These are really stonking species. It's on my hand, look. Now, the colours here probably aren't going to show up as well as they should, so we require a photograph. Maybe even another one, just to show the range of colours of this species. Now, if I can get this to settle down. These are annoying beetles. They're a lot like weevils in their reaction to being caught or attempted to be caught. There we are. Cracking thing. One of our most colourful beetles. I do love Crassulinas. I have a thing for Crassulina leaf beetles and Cryptocephalus leaf beetles, as you'll no doubt find out in a week or so when we go hunting for the hazel pot beetle. However, in the absence of a hazel pot beetle, you'll have to make do with this Grasolina Fasciosa. Beautiful species. There's a willow warbler just behind me, but this is the main pit here at Gunthorpe, and it's quite a sizable pit, to be honest. Generally squarish in shape. And there's a great crested grebe just popped up to say hello, look. But it's beautiful. Trees are coming into leaf, the goat sallows are continuing to flower, and the summer migrants are returning. Chetty's warbler over to the right, and a willow warbler behind me. What's not to love about spring? Now then, I've got the lure for Emperor Moth here. I'll plonk it on there and see if it works. I think Emperor Moth will be here. It's only about a mile or so, if that, just further up the Trent, certainly up as far as Netherfield. It's been recorded at Home Pierpont this year, and I think it's here at Gunthorpe. This seems to be the ideal habitat. There's one coming already. They're notorious for not coming in, and one's just come through. It's doing a circuit round. I may well just try and catch this. There it is, you saw it against the lure then. I've caught it. So you saw me put the lure out, and just to prove that it is an Emperor Moth, there we go, look at that beauty. Now then, it's homing in. This was in within a minute, really. by all accounts, this is what they do. They don't actually come directly to the lure. In fact, it's nearly settled on the camera then. It's still here, still just against the tripod to the right. You may well get a glimpse of it in a second as it comes nearer. There we go, look. That's my first Emperor Moth in Nottinghamshire. It's a species I've never seen in Nottinghamshire. And this is a new record, a new grid square. It's not been recorded here at Gunthorpe before. Now I can either catch it and let it settle down, but you can see that it's an Emperor Moth. It's still flying round at about a foot from the ground. I've netted it again. We'll see if it settles down. What a stonking moth. Now this is the smaller pit. This is one of two smaller pits by the looks of this. Swans nesting at the other end. It's more sheltered, so the water is still here. And what there is just in front are a number of whirligig beetles. And I remember coming here last year, later in the summer, I think it was July, and this water nearest to the camera was full of whirligig beetles. I may be able to see if I can get some footage, but you won't see it a great deal, just a little beetle doing what it says on the tin. They tend to swim on the surface, and in doing so they go round and round frequently. Oh, there's the Chetty's warbler calls from over there, and now some noisy grey lags are coming. That's the last thing we want, because they're so noisy. The habitat behind me, this rough, grassy area, gives you rank vegetation such as nettles, docks and bramble. It's typical of what's here. You have this also this large grass area, which at some time is cut, but I'm presuming late autumn. It's cut at least once a year. It's a big area. Say this is an untouched area in terms of invertebrates. I'm pretty sure that someone comes and does your typical butterfly transect, and someone may have a wander and look at a few dragonflies, but apart from them, nothing. There's no recording here, apart from when I've come down myself. This is brilliant habitat, with the goat sallow scrub, some hawthorn scrub as well. There's some blackthorn along the hedge there. This is good habitat for a wide range of species. Coleoptera wise, must be a dream here. I really must spend more time. And everything else, all your other invertebrate orders, no one's ever looked. It's hard to imagine sometimes that in any of today's counties, any vice counties, that there are sort of large untapped resources in terms of invertebrate records like this. Yet it's just outside the boundaries of Nottingham as well. Burton Joyce is half a mile as the Emperor Moth flies down there. Someone is missing out with having this on the doorstep. It's a cracking sight. I love it, and I must come here again more regular. In the meantime, I'm going up there and give it another go with the Emperor Moth lure. Now that we're a little bit more advanced in the day, it's now 12:15. If you want that in old money, it's 12:15 as well. Well, just before I wind up this little visit to Gunthorpe, I'm just giving the Emperor Moth lure one more go while I sit in a bed of nettles, quite literally, as my hand is finding out. In another few weeks, all this will be 3-4 foot high. Great habitat. Probably have grasshopper warbler singing away, and a number of other species as well, used by both birds and invertebrates. So it's just ideal while ever this is here. I hope it always is here. I hope they don't try and improve it, with the word improve being in them. Gunthorpe, it's a lovely place to come and have a wander. You get the fishermen round the main pit, that's all. The public tend to stick solely to the track at the side of the Trent, and admittedly I haven't walked down by the side of the Trent here for donkey's years. I prefer it a bit quieter. And here we have a whitethroat fresh in. There. Blackcap over there behind you. And the nearest call. That is whitethroat. Whitethroat, or at least the male, often does an aerial flight. Goes up and then sort of comes back down again. You'll often see it from roadside hedges. Had a big crash in the population many years ago, but it's come back. Good numbers. It suffered from the tidying up and maintenance of roadside hedgerows, that's without a doubt. So somewhere like this, with large nettle beds, rank vegetation and bramble and scrub, is perfect. A lot of birds need scrub. I know everyone likes to thin it out and get rid of it, but they need a certain amount of scrub. There's lots of invertebrates in scrub. Scrub helps to create little microclimates within a certain area that invertebrates love. It works both ways. You can't get rid of scrub everywhere, and well, you shouldn't want to. Some species prefer to lay and breed on scrub, and the birds benefit as well. So I think it's time for home. I get the impression that mid-morning is the best time for Emperor Moth. At least for Emperor Moth coming to one of these. That was a peacock that's just flown past. you know, that looks an ideal pastime for a day like today. Even I'd quite like to have a go at that. Do they do a wheezy rubbing competition?